to all of you who are graduating with honors and transferring and completing your journey here at Santa Ana College. It's truly a remarkable achievement, and I hope you take the time to pat yourself in the back and take a breather before you have to start again at your new home campus. I know it takes a lot of work, determination, support, and passion to be able to transfer and continue your educational journey, so congratulations. So being here today really makes me reflect on my own journey, and I wanted to just share a little bit about that in the hopes that you can benefit from some of my experiences. My story, I imagine, is like a lot of your stories. I'm an immigrant. I was born and raised in Mexico City. I came to the U.S. undocumented at the age of 13 as a teenager. You can imagine it was a very frightening experience. It was scary to leave everything and everyone you know behind, to start a new life as a teenager in a new country. Very, very strange. But even growing up, whether it was in Mexico or here in the U.S., my parents had always stressed the importance of an education. Even though they only have a 7th and 9th grade education, they knew that that was the only legacy they could give their kids. I imagine like many of your parents. And they knew that it was the way to really have a better life, a path to a better life, which is ultimately what made them leave everything behind in Mexico and come to the U.S. searching for a better life for themselves and for their 4 kids. So I'm one of 4. When I came here to the U.S., I started in 8th grade, and it was a really tough transition. I was held back from regular classes because I did not speak any English. I could say apple, table, chair, but that was about it. I had to take many hours of ESL classes in 8th grade, and it was a lot more of the same when I went to high school, which meant that I couldn't really enroll in regular English classes. And so when I graduated high school, I wasn't ready to go to a university. Besides, my immigration status was an issue because I was undocumented, and this was before students had opportunities regardless of their status. So, even so, my parents would have never been able to afford for me to go to a university. They had 3 college-age kids at the same time at Santa Ana College. So even if we had been ready, we would not have been able to afford it. But despite all of those barriers, including the language barrier, with the support of my family, first and foremost, but a lot of teachers and counselors and people here at Santa Ana College, I was able to really throw myself into school and excel academically. I owe being here at Santa Ana College at the beginning to a great counselor at the high school who saw in me a lot more than a kid who just had arrived in the U.S. and whose English wasn't that great. She really saw something in me and made sure that I had a scholarship to come to Santa Ana College. So it was an excellent option for me. It was affordable. It was close to home, not too far away. And it was also an excellent education. To me, Santa Ana College, again, was really instrumental on putting me towards my career and the journey that I'm on. When I was here, I really wanted to be very proactive about my education, and I know probably a lot of you understand this. We're lucky because Santa Ana College has so many programs and services that are available, so many people that can answer questions, point you in the right direction, guide you through your time here. And so that was very helpful in preparing me to transfer, because that was the goal. I wanted to be here for a short time as I could to go on to the next journey. My time here, though, did prepare me. I ended up transferring to UC Davis. I loved going to UC Davis and being able to fulfill my dream of eventually becoming a civil rights attorney. So I'm a lawyer. It's what I ended up actually doing. I had never met a lawyer in my life when I told my parents in high school that I wanted to be one. The only ones they knew were it was like some lawyer that had swindled us out of some money. But I thought they have a lot of power in society, and I want to do what they do, but for the better good of people. I want to help people like my family. So I think my time here really helped me become a very practical and compassionate advocate. As a lawyer, I practiced litigation and law for 14 years and worked for, as Christina mentioned, the National Immigration Law Center, but also the ACLU of Southern California. That first part of my career was spent fighting for the rights of immigrants. People like me, people like you, people like your families, people like my family. Making sure that everybody here in this country, regardless of their race, where they came from, religion, gender, their economic status, could really have the opportunity to live their full potential. So I litigated cases against some of the most draconian anti-immigrant laws here in the US. I don't know if you all remember this, you might have been too young, but laws like Arizona's SB 1070 or the Alabama crazy anti-immigrant law. I represented about 60,000 immigrants against the federal government because they were holding immigrants in inhumane detention conditions along 8 facilities along the border in the South. I also have had the privilege to represent hundreds of workers who were unlawfully detained by the government when they raided, immigration agents raided their workplaces, chicken factories in the South. And I also had the honor and privilege to defend the first young person with DACA, the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, a program that allowed young people who came to this country without papers to go to school and work and be safe from being deported. My client, Juan Manuel, was the first person who was deported despite having this protection. All he wanted to do was live in this country without fear of being deported. He was going to college down in Calexico, and he just wanted a better job, a better life, to make something of his life, but unfortunately, he was unlawfully deported by the government. Those are the people that I worked with for about 15 years of my career, and because of my time here at Santa Ana College, I can truly say that I wasn't just a person sitting in the lawyer's table. I was often the only person who could explain what happened inside a courtroom to my clients or to their families and loved ones. Whether it was our young clients in Arizona who were fighting against discrimination because they wouldn't give them driver's licenses, or the only person who could understand really what the fear of being deported felt like when we were talking to some of our clients in Tennessee or South Carolina. I understood what it felt like for them to expose themselves and sue the federal government who had violated their rights, and having to overcome that fear. What could happen to them and their families if they stood up for their rights in a courtroom? I am them. I was them. I went to school with many of them, and so I think my time here really did make me a better advocate for my community. As Christina mentioned, the next step in my career took me to a really place that I never would have thought about working for, which was local government. As she mentioned, I worked for Eric Garcetti, who at the time was the mayor of the city of Los Angeles, and I had the honor of representing the 1.5 million immigrants in the city of LA. So anything and everything having to do with immigrants was part of my work. And I was doing that during the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, and the summer of racial justice protests, which, as you can imagine, were very scary times, particularly for our immigrant and refugee communities who had a lot of other barriers. They were scared to go get a test, a vaccine, to seek medical help because they didn't know what could happen to them. They were afraid they could get deported. And so it was my job to make sure that during those really difficult times that they knew that the city was there to serve them. That was my sole job. I would have never thought I would be working for local government, but that job really helped me understand how government works, how to create relationships among different stakeholders, government officials, nonprofit organizations, academics, business, you name it. And it also really allowed me to do work at the local, state, national, and even international level, where I represented the mayor on some different councils. Now, about 18 years later, I don't look like it, but I'm a partner at a consulting firm called Sudu Strategies. Sudu stands for Hummingbird in Mayan. And what I do is I provide strategic support, program design, government relations, and public relations work to a number of clients. I'm still very much doing the work that I love to do, but wearing a very different hat. My clients now are working on the very issues that I was working on before: immigrants' rights, environmental justice, criminal justice reform, housing affordability and homelessness issues, you name it, all of the important issues of our lifetime. I am living my purpose through my work, I like to think, and I would really want the same for each and every one of you. As you arrive at your new home campus and as you transfer, all I can offer you is this. Continue taking charge of your education and be really proactive. You are your best advocate. Really invest the time learning and utilizing the many resources available at your new campus. Figure out the support programs, the offices, counselors or advisors, financial aid, scholarship offices. Check out the bookstore. Discover tutoring centers, labs, study centers, libraries. All the things that are there for you and your success. Find out about study abroad programs if you can. I did the UC-DC program that sent me to Washington, D.C. while I was at UC Davis, and I loved it. I loved it. I got to work with a nonprofit organization out there while taking classes and living in D.C. for a few months. So I encourage you to just find out about everything that's available. Map out your 2 years. They'll go by really quickly. Make sure you're choosing your classes wisely so that you can graduate and go on and do bigger things. But also take the time to figure out, what do you want to learn? What is it that interests you? I think this is your last chance to really learn for the sake of joy, for just like learning about anything and everything. You're gonna miss that when you have a job and you have to pay bills. So make sure that you're doing that as well. Push yourself to continue learning. And last, find mentors. I can't even say how much professors, TAs, faculty, counselors have been instrumental in my own path. It was a counselor who encouraged me to become a lawyer when I told her that. She asked me, what do you want to do when you were in school? And I said, well, I want to be a flight attendant. And she was like, that's nice. But what about, if you could be anything you could dream of, what would that be? And I was like, well, I really want to be a flight attendant because I want to fly all over the world. And she was like, well, that's nice, but if you really just could make your dream come true, what would that be? And I said, well, I want to be a lawyer. That's what I really want to do. And she was like, all right.